Okay. It is 8:30. We are live. What's happening, YouTube? I am trying to get this set up here. Let's get a little sounds going. So, all right, awesome. So, this is my first live stream. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking. Am I supposed to be looking here? Am I supposed to be looking stuff I got going on? I don't know. But I figured I would start live streaming a little bit because there's a lot of topics that I just like to cover. First of all, can y'all hear me? Anybody that's watching, if you're watching this live, just let me know. How's it sound? Still got some things I got to work out as I figure out this whole streaming situation. So just be patient with me. But yeah, so I'm saying my goal is to start streaming at least once or twice a month. There are a lot of topics that's incredibly too hard to cover in a video, and probably if you've noticed on the channel over the past year or so, the videos have really changed, and I think a lot of that has to stem from me trying to figure out what exactly I want the channel to look like. Sometimes it's time constraints, so I don't really have as much time to get videos out to you guys as much as I want to. So something like this is going to be perfect for topics like what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay, excellent. You guys can hear me? Awesome. But yeah, I just wanted to create like a chill space for people to come on, people that love Pixel products, if you love Android. I don't mind, even if you like iPhone, iOS, whatever, you could be here too. Let's keep it cordial, people. I just wanted to create a space for us to talk about Pixel things, Pixel exclusive content or things going on in the Pixel space. So while we're going on throughout this live, feel free, drop down in the chat where you from. Let me know. Also, if there's something that you want to chat about on tonight's stream, drop that in the chat as well. And we'll talk about some of those to the best of my ability. I'm not going to proclaim to be the most knowledgeable person in the space, but I try to bring you guys content that's number one, hopefully is helpful, but I try to give you all the real. I love Google products. Pixel 7 Pro user here, got my Pixel Buds sitting here, rocking that Pixel Watch still. Even though some reviewers went on to, and everybody loves to talk about the Apple Watch Ultra, which we'll talk about in a little bit, kind of. But yeah, I'm a Google guy, and I love their products. I like their design aesthetic. So I try not to be extremely biased. I'll give kudos to Google where it's due, but I also try to call them out when some things aren't right. Pixel 6 issues, stuff going on with the updates. So it looks like, just with that, it looks like they're a little bit more consistent, at least this month. We got their Pixel update. It came on May 1st. It came on the first day. So that was actually pretty dope. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more consistency with Google as far as updates go. But let's talk about this here. Okay, we're 6 months, a little bit more than 6 months into the cycle for Pixel phones. So if you got a Pixel 7 or a Pixel 7 Pro, I want to know what you guys' experience has been like so far. I originally bought the Pixel 7. Google did not send me one, which somebody from Google is listening, and I would love to be on Team Pixel. I bought the Pixel 7 when it was first released. Reason being, Pixel 6 was fine, but battery life in that modem, yeah, that just wasn't it. And so I was only getting like 4 or 5 hours of screen on time out of the battery, and I've used Pixel phones since the original Pixel, and so I've seen them progressively get better. I've seen them try things that some stuff has worked, some stuff has not worked. I'm looking at thinking like Soli, right, and Face Unlock on the Pixel 4, which was dope. I'm also talking about battery life on the Pixel 4 and 4 XL that was just mediocre at best for that time. I mean, we were getting like 3 to 4 hours of screen on time. So Pixel 6 came along, it got marginally better. I don't really have a problem with what Google tried to do with that phone. Um, but I think more specifically, Pixel 7, when I saw it, it refined a lot of what was there in the 6, and it needed it. So I purchased a Pixel 7, and I daily drove it probably for about 3 months, and it was just something that I couldn't get away from with the Pro version. Like Pro to me just felt better in the hand. Um, that telephoto lens, like I didn't think I used it as much as I actually do, but I miss that telephoto lens, especially for work. I actually do use it a lot at work, but that 120 hertz screen, it was hard to get used to 90 hertz again. But that's just me. I pixel peep, right? 1080p, I pixel peep. Holler at me in the chat if you're a pixel peeper. But it just, I don't know. I felt like something was kind of lacking. So I gave the regular Pixel 7, I gave that to my wife, and I went and got the Pixel 7 Pro. I've been rocking it the past like 4 months. It's been smooth. I haven't had any issues with my Pixel. I know sometimes people love to get on here and talk about isolated incidences, and there was the whole camera gate thing where cameras were apparently cracking or something like that. Hey, welcome y'all. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, there was some stuff going on with isolated incidents, stuff you see on Twitter, but I didn't have none of that. But outside of Google not being consistent with releasing some of the updates, it's been cool. So I'm kind of excited for Google I/O, which is next week, because I really want to see what Google has to offer. We're gonna go over some of the leaks. It's just too much for me to cover in each separate video. I'd be trying to cover stuff well after it's been announced, and so I kind of want to give some thoughts going into it before Google I/O next week, and we'll kind of see what Google has to offer. So okay, we got Columbus, Ohio in the house. I'm from Michigan, so there's some rivalry there, bro. But hey, you a Pixel fan, you welcome here. I'll take it. Let's see here. So I have the Pixel 6 Pro after the issues. I couldn't get myself. Really, it was that bad? Pixel 6 Pro was that bad for you? Man, that's I hate to hear that, because iPhone people, y'all welcome to it. Man, I hate to hear that people have issues with their Pixel phones, because honestly, and I haven't had terrible customer service from Google, like customer support, but if this is like your first, think about it, if you're a first-time customer coming over from an iPhone, it's a bad look. It's a bad look, and it doesn't necessarily, like, everybody knows if you got a Pixel product, like 98% of the phones, 98% of the people that buy it typically aren't going to have issues, but it's like that 2%. And if you happen to end up in that 2% and you get a bad experience, it's just going to wreck like your whole perception of Android. It's going to wreck your whole perception of Pixel products. Like it's kind of it's a shame. They really need to tighten up on that. You still rocking that Pixel 6? Has it gotten better? Let's see here. Okay, we got an iPhone user. Okay, that's fine too. Look, as long as we don't come in here start no drama, we'll take iPhone people. I actually some of the videos in some of the videos that I've done, I talk about how I daily drive both to some extent. Android and primarily Pixel will always be my main phone, and then there's some things that I just try to use iPhone for. I hate iOS. It's just not for me. It's not that iOS is terrible as a whole. Some things about it are terrible, but I cannot give it. I'm an old school tech kid, used to file managing systems and stuff like that. It is just iOS is just not for me. Let's see what else we got here. On fire for that Pixel Fold. All right, so we doing this. Let's start there. Let's talk about the Pixel Fold. Let's see if I can pull this up. So has anybody seen the leaks for the Pixel Fold? Or what have you been hearing about the Pixel Fold? I'm gonna try to pull this up here, because I actually think this is pretty interesting. So if anybody's on Twitter, you probably have seen some of these leaks from, was it EV Leaks? Let me just go ahead and share this here for those that haven't seen it. Let's go with this one here. All right, so I actually think this looks dope. I like the design. I like the idea of a foldable, and I think Google going with wider aspect ratio was a good move here. And the screen to body ratio actually looks pretty nice on the outside screen. I think it's interesting because I think the ideology is different between the Z Fold and the Pixel Fold, because it's like the Z Fold, like, yeah, you can do some things on the outside screen, but I don't think it's really made for you to use one-handed, like to use the outside screen a lot. And you've seen that over the progressions of it. I think they're coming out with this Z Fold 5. I think it's supposed to launch in July or something like that. But I like this wider aspect ratio. It looks more like not only does it look more like a regular phone, but it's supposed to be 5.8 inches. So like, if you've ever had any complaints about the size of Pixel phones being big, I know I can do a big phone, but I also appreciate a small phone. Like, this is gonna be perfect. Like 5.8 inches. I think that's a sweet spot. And then let's see here, let's go over to the unfolded view. I mean, it's supposed to get up to, what is it, 7.6 inches open, like total screen space on the inside. Yeah, so you got a compact device. I think it looks pretty dope. I think one of the things about Google, you either get their design aesthetic or you don't, and that's just how it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue and say like that Google has the best like design element. That's something that's very subjective. And in a world of iPhone users, like, I'm gonna be honest, even though it's a dated look, like, iPhone looks dope. Like, it's a nice looking device. It looks solid. There's like with Apple and the way they do the iPhone, they usually don't cut any corners or try to make any concessions. At least on the hardware side, software might be different. But I feel like that's where Google is different. Like, Google will make concessions on the aesthetics for for like practicality. So if you look in this photo, it doesn't have a hole punch camera. The camera's hidden up here in the bezel, and everybody's complaining about the large size of these bezels, but I'm like, it really doesn't matter. If you've ever used a tablet, like, you prefer to have bezels. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest, because a lot of times when you're switching orientation or fidgeting with it, like, you get a lot of accidental touches. So I don't mind it having thicker bezels. I mean, it looks very Gen 1, but at the same time, I feel like Google could, like, maybe for like the next generation, like, just give it a raised edge, and that might alleviate some of it, and then you can have a wider screen or a larger screen. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing really you can do about it. And I think Google is supposed to they're supposed to like really advertise that they have like the most durable hinge. So with foldables, I think that's important. I mean, you want to be able to make sure that it's going to last, but also I want to make sure that my fold doesn't fall apart. So I think it's important. I think design comes second to like function. So maybe that's their motto. They're like function over form, which is probably the case. So I think it looks pretty dope. Let's see here. What else we got in the comments here? I still have it. I'm holding out until the 8. Yeah, man. Yeah, most people are on that 2-year update cycle. So I get it if you're holding out for the 8. I've seen leaks for the 8. I think they're talking flat screen. on that, which would be welcome. And I think they're reworking some of the cameras. Like, we can talk about it now, or I can talk about it in a little bit, but I think Google is changing their model when it comes to their phones. They're changing like a lot of things that go with their lineup. Maybe we'll talk about it when I get to the 7A a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited for the 8 too. I don't know if I feel like the 8 might compel me to get 2 devices this year, like the Pixel Fold and the Pixel 8 I might end up with. And I really hope that's not the case. I just want to be able to pick one device that I carry around. And right now I'm leaning towards the Fold. So I'm hoping that they impress me at Google I/O with that. It's going to be heavy with that aspect ratio. I know. So does anybody remember what the weight is that they're talking about? Like how heavy the Pixel Fold is going to be? That actually has me a little leery. I hear people complain about the Z Fold being heavy already, and the Z Fold is going to be lighter than the Pixel Fold. So I don't know how I feel about that yet, but I mean, it's one of those things that you kind of got to wait till you get it in hand and see how it works out, because that wouldn't dissuade me from getting it. As long as it feels solid in the hand, you'll get used to it. New subscriber here. Hey, yeah, welcome to the channel. Yeah, I'm really trying to grow this channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers on here, and I'm trying to review more products for the channel, mainly on the Android side, but I feel like I got something to offer in that space. So yeah, thanks for the subscribe, man. Welcome. Actually, I'm going to be working on the I ordered a OnePlus pad that's supposed to be here sometime next week. So I think I'm actually going to try that and review it before I get the Pixel tablet, because right now I'm trying to decide between those two. But we can talk about the Pixel tablet in just a little bit here. Galaxy tabs, iPads have bezels that big. So I know, right? And iPad actually, they've shrunk their bezels like over the past like couple of generations. So they've shrunk them more. Obviously, they used to have bigger bezels, but you kind of need it when you have a two-handed device. Like, it's nice as I think that Pixel 7 looks, and as good as it feels in the hand with like curved displays and very small bezels, like I still get accidental touches. So I'd rather have the bezels and prevent that. I mean, as long as it functions and the screen is big enough, I could care less about that. If it works, that's really what matters. It very much looks like a first gen product. Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. I think COVID and the pandemic really messed up Google's strategy, because we've been hearing rumors. We heard rumors about the Pixel Watch. We heard rumors about the Pixel Fold. And I believe we heard rumors about the tablet like way back in 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. So I think it kind of works to Google's disadvantage that they're releasing things now, but they've been working on them probably for like 5 years. So like 5 years ago, this would have been fine, because the first Z Fold had just came out, I think 2018 or 2019 or something like that. And in comparison, it would have been fine. But once you get so far down product development, you stop worrying about the aesthetics of it and you kind of focus on other things. So, I mean, it's a first gen product, obviously, but they're like dated first gen products because Google's been working on them for some time and they just have been slow to put stuff out. It kind of sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. Usually the leap between first gen and second gen is pretty huge. Think of the Z Fold 1 versus the 2, the first iPad versus the second. Let's hope it's Fold 2. Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. because a lot of times it depends too on if they're good about taking customer feedback. So one thing I noticed that Google has gotten better with is I don't post a lot on Twitter, but I follow a lot on Twitter, and Google's gotten a lot better about responding to either customer complaints or acknowledgement with their products and things like that. They also, if you're part of, we got anybody that's a Pixel Super fan here? Shout outs in the comments if you're a Pixel Super fan, but they occasionally will send us like surveys, or in some of the groups that they have, a lot of times they'll reach out and ask like, what are some things we want to see added to Pixel products, or what are some issues that we're having with things. So they do take feedback, but I mean, whether they implement it or not, or really care, I don't know. I can't really speak to, but yeah, hopefully second gen will look different. But I'm excited just for a foldable that comes from Google in the first place. It's so hard for me to use Samsung's version of Android, even with One UI. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it's just not for me. It doesn't mean it's terrible. It's just not for me. So, all right, let's. All right, what else we got here? Let's do Pixel 7a, because I think this is pretty interesting. So let me bring that up here. All right, y'all seen those pictures for Pixel 7a? Really digging that light blue color. But a lot of changes to Pixel 7a, and I think this has to do a lot with Google's strategy for their phones going forward. 90 hertz on the 7a instead of 60. It's about time. 60 hertz is painful to look at if you're coming from a 120 hertz device, or if you're coming from an iPhone. The way that iOS does 60 hertz, to me, it seems smoother. Like I have an iPhone 10 still, and I will occasionally have to do things on that phone, and that 60 hertz feels smoother than the 60 hertz on my Pixel 6a. Neither of them feel smooth at all, so don't get me wrong. It feels a little bit smoother. So yeah, 90 hertz. I'm excited about that. Also, what else is different? Wireless charging. Wireless charging is finally coming to the 7a. It's supposed to be, I believe, 18 watts. So I mean, that's respectable. I'm not. It's not the fastest, but I mean, neither are Google's flagships when it comes to wireless charging. But I will say it's faster than MagSafe. Why Apple still has 15 watt like max charging and 10 for like everything else for wireless charging, I don't know. But that's there, so that's a nice little upgrade. And then price went up. So price is going up $50. It's going up to, I believe, $499. So like I read on Twitter, like some people are upset because they're like, the A series is supposed to be like entry level, it's supposed to be cheap, all of that, but it is entry level. Like based off of, and maybe Google will give us more on the Pixel 8 at Google I/O next week, but in comparison to his other phones, like it is going to be entry level. I honestly think we're going to see a price increase on Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro. And I think we're going to see more features, like a bigger differential between the two lines. So like if you can get an entry level phone at $500 and it's got 90 hertz, it's got Tensor 2. So I'm fine with Tensor. Like, not saying that it can't be improved. I did have a little bit of remorse when Snapdragon 8 Gen, was it Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 came out, that was like customized for the S23 Ultra, and like the battery life and efficiency they're getting out of that chip. I'm a little jealous when it comes to that. But outside of that, like if you look at it just for Google is trying to do with Pixel, Tensor 2 is fine. Tensor 3 I hear is going to be like up there with Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or even better. But for what most people use their phones for, most people they're either sending text messages or on social media or sending emails. So like, what do you need a bunch of power for? Let's be honest. Most of the people complain about it. They're not even using half of the stuff that requires that amount of power. And then if you're like, well, but what about the games and all of that? Like, get an ROG phone. Like, get a gaming phone if you care that much about that for this phone. That's not what this is for. Like, I love voice to text, like, which Tensor 2 is fine for. Everybody else's version doesn't compete. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. And I think it's fine. I don't think there's an issue with that. But I think people they don't like the idea of having to pay more for what they consider to be a budget device. But to me, the 7A seems like it's going to be like the 7 with like slightly slower wireless charging speeds. But it's getting different cameras too, is from what I hear. I think 64 megapixels on the main camera, so the megapixel height or megapixel count will be higher. So that would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna pick one up. I'm definitely gonna review one for the channel because I'd like to see how it compares to the Pixel 6 and Pixel 7. But I think you're gonna see 7A. This will probably be the last 7 or A series phone from Google, and then you'll probably have something like Pixel 8, Pixel 8 Pro, and then like Pixel 8 Pro Ultra or Max or whatever stupid name they decide to give phones that don't actually have Pro features. But I think that's what we're going to see probably start next year. So I'm happy the 7A will have 90 hertz. No one should buy a regular 7 once the 7A is released. I kind of agree. It's newer, so a lot of times people forget. A lot of these companies, they refine their products throughout the life cycle of that product. So even if you chose to get a 7 now, the 7 you get now is going to be better than the one that came out in October. Like, a lot of people don't know that, but Google actually does some refinement. Some of it's done in the software with like our monthly security patches and stuff like that. But also, if there's like glaring issues, they correct them. Unless the 7 goes on sale, for which you can find it on sale some places, or you can get like a good carrier deal. I think the 7A this year is the way to go, because it's going to be largely the same experience, but it's going to have it seems like it might have better cameras. If it has better cameras than the regular 7, then yeah, go buy the 7. Buy the 7. There we go. I accidentally tapped my Pixel Buds and I forgot I'm using multi-point on the computer, and it started playing other music there that I didn't hear. So yeah, excited for the Pixel 7A. Did I miss anything with the 7A? Let me know, guys, because I'm trying to cover as much as possible in this short amount of time. And I'm not a streaming aficionado. This is not my area of expertise, but I'm going to try to do the best I can here. Let's go on to the tablet. Let's talk about the Pixel tablet. I got a few thoughts about the Pixel tablet here. First one, this pink color with the white bezel, that's ugly. I'm sorry. It's I see what they're going for. Do you guys remember when they released like colorful new Macs? Not the laptops, but like the stand-up Macs, and they had the white bezel on them. And Apple's rationale for it was supposed to be because it blends in better in a home environment. And so that's why companies do this kind of stuff like from time to time. But I absolutely hate it. I hate the white bezel look. But overall, the design of it, I think it's okay. It looks very dated to me too. So this looks like something that probably Google was working on back in 2017, 2018. Probably was supposed to come out in 2020 or something like that. But I think Google needs these products. Like, they have to put them out if they want to make any sort of dent in that space. They've got to have like a fully complete ecosystem. And I think that's the only reason that we're starting to see these things now. Pixel Watch in comparison, I'll give you an example. Like Pixel Watch in comparison to the Apple Watch, it's like 7 or 8 generations behind. And then the Ultra came out, and everybody had all these complaints about the bezel. Like, I actually like the design. People didn't complain about the way it looked, but like, people were trolling Google because they're like, yeah, it's got an old processor, it's got a small battery, this is that and the third. But Google still has to make this product. Like, it still needs to exist, because you need to have a fully fleshed out ecosystem if you expect anybody to come over from, other ecosystems, whether it be Samsung or Apple, which is why the Pixel tablet has to exist. I don't really think people use tablets the way that they were using them years ago, like when the iPad first came out. And unless you have like really excellent performance, like I think the new iPads with the M1 or M2 can do like video editing and stuff like that. LumaFusion is available for Android. I'm curious if the Pixel tablet is powerful enough to run something like that. And I'm curious how they're positioning it, whether it's going to be something for like productivity, or it's just going to be this home tablet that sits around the house that you pick up occasionally just for content and media consumption. I don't know. This is why I'm kind of like on the edge with the tablet. Like, I want one because like I'm deep in the Google ecosystem, but at the same time I'm just like, I don't feel like it's going to be really, I don't think it's going to be very good. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't think it's going to be really good. I think it'll be cool to have like the Nest features, and Google over time is gradually, like, their ecosystem is all becoming about Nest features. So like, even I keep going back to this, but the Pixel Watch, even though it's part of the Google ecosystem, like, it has no like continuity whatsoever with the phone. Like, outside of Nest features like smart home controls and stuff that's built into the watch, I mean, other than that, like, there's no continuity. Like, I can't use RCS. Like, I can't make RCS messages from the watch. Like, if I'm replying to an RCS, it sends back as a regular text message. Can't change do not disturb and have them sync up. It's all kinds of stuff like that. So I really think Google is leaning in heavily just on the Nest smart home features, and they're like, everything else is just going to come when it comes. I'm also curious because I'm like, I also use Chromebooks, and if you have like a good 2-in-1 Chromebook, then why do you need the Pixel tablet? Because a lot of that stuff you can do on the Chromebook, and I would even argue, functionality wise, Chromebooks have more functionality. Like, if you get like a nice high-end Chromebook, I kind of wish the Pixelbooks were still around. You can still get one. You can still get a Pixelbook Go, but I kind of wish they would put more effort into probably a Pixelbook outside of the tablet. But that's just my personal opinion on that. I don't know. Definitely going to still pick one up. Probably will get it. I think it's coming in green too. I think it's green and obsidian. It'll come in. But yeah, I'll pick one of those up, just so I at least to review it on the channel. So let me know if that's something you guys want to see also. Pixel Fold, last thing, definitely picking that up in white. They don't really have too many interesting colors with the Pixel Fold, but 7A and the Pixel tablet, I mean, there's a lot of splash color to it. So let's see. All right, I'm gonna change this track here. You guys have been listening to the same track here for like the past 40 minutes, and I don't know if anybody's noticed or not. But yeah, I'm very much into lo-fi. It's calming. Let's try this one instead. No, not that. Let's go here. All right. I want to get to know the community a little bit better. So if you're here for the first time, shout out to you. Thank you for taking some time out of your Wednesday evening to do it. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a little while now, thank you for being here too. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. And if there's anything in particular that you want to see out of Google products going forward, like, I'm curious, what are you guys feeling about the lineup so far? Have a standalone is what makes it. Yeah, so I wholeheartedly agree. That was smart. That was actually smart. Did the whole tab stand thing. I am concerned though that the stand may not come with the tablet, and pricing, I think they're like, the rumors for pricing for this tablet are like in excess of like $500-$600. And so can't hear me too well. Can you guys hear me now? Is that a little bit better? Turn down the music. Hopefully that improves it, but let me know if it's better. Maybe if I turn up the volume a little bit, maybe that helped. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, so it's supposed to come with this. I don't know if it's coming with the stand. And if it comes with the stand and they price it for like $599, I think it's worth it. I think there was a leak a little while ago where the stand by itself leaked on Amazon for like $130. And if it doesn't come bundled together and you have like a $500 tablet plus another $130, I think that's a lot. That's a huge ask. And I don't know who's in the market for buying an Android tablet, number one, or more specifically a Pixel tablet, besides people that like Pixel products. So I don't know. I'm an enthusiast, so I want one, but I don't see them selling a lot of these, which is a shame, because if they don't sell a lot of them, then we may not see Gen 2, or they won't continue to work on them. But I like the aesthetic of having the stand, like being able to set it somewhere in the house and then have smart home controls. I'm possibly even thinking of mounting one on the wall somehow. I gotta figure that out. But that'd be pretty dope to have like a big Pixel tablet sitting there that I can dock and undock off of the wall, but also use it to control the whole house. I got a lot of Nest and smart home stuff in here, so I think that's a smart move. But it's just something with their pricing structure. I'm not like, we didn't even talk about pricing for all this stuff. It's speculative, but I think Google might have a pricing issue on their hands. That's just, when you look at, so look at the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro when that came out. Like, they came out well underneath the competition. So I think that was even around the time that like Apple changed like the prices on their iPhones. So iPhone was like much more expensive. But then you could also justify it because you're getting all of these flagship premium features, so they're like $1,000 plus phones. And then Google comes in with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, and they're like, yeah, $599 for the Pixel 6 and then $899 for the Pixel 6 Pro, which to me, the regular 6 was priced like right on point for like what you got out of that device. And then to me, the Pro was like, overpriced because I feel like the delta between the two, that should have been like $599 and $799. And then when you compare it to other phones that were on the market, like a lot of people were going to pick it up because they're like, hey, this Google does software really good. The Pixel experience is really, really good on those phones. And it comes in cheaper than a lot of the competition. Like what I'm hearing about these devices, like Pixel 7a, $499, not bad. Like that's fine. But like Pixel Fold, $1,800, and that's what the Z Fold is running for. And let's be honest, like you're not going to get that premium experience like what you're going to get from Samsung. It's just Samsung to me does like hardware better, and everything. Like when they put something out, it actually feels like it's worth the money. Like I've had the Pixel, or not Pixel, I had the S23 Ultra for a little bit, and I could not with the software. Like it just was not for me. But every time you pick that phone up, it feels good in the hands. Like, and so then you can justify spending $1,200 on it. Plus, they've got better software support, so you're going to get more software update or OS updates and security patches and things like that. Like, that's the stuff that Google needs to keep in mind. So, when you're talking like 3 years of OS updates and security patches, and then you do have a larger bezel, so aesthetically it doesn't look as pleasing. And then Google tends to make concessions somewhere. It's hard for them to compete. Like they just price their stuff like with the premium, with like premium devices. And to me, they haven't proven themselves in that area yet across the board. Like they're good, but I mean, there's competition that's just better in some areas right now. So I feel like Pixel Fold is going to be overpriced. They probably should have priced that like $13.99, maybe $14.99. And then the Pixel tablet, that like it should come with the stand. It should be $4.99. I'm gonna be honest. It should be $4.99. OnePlus Pad just came out like last week. You could pre-order it, and they included a cover case, which is like a stand. And granted, you're not getting all the functionality like the Pixel tablet, but they were priced right around like $439 or $449 or something like that. And from what I'm hearing, it's a solidly built, good tablet. If Google's tablet even comes close to that, but it like prices itself up there with like the iPad Pro or you know the higher end iPads, I don't think they're going to sell any. I just don't think it's their pricing strategy. So. Does anybody here own do you own foldables? Like if you do, like what's your favorite part about owning a foldable? Because this will be like my first one. Like I've checked out the Z Fold in the stores and stuff, but I don't like that very skinny, narrow aspect ratio when using it one-handed. So I've been waiting on this, and I just really hope that Google doesn't blow it. Really hope they don't. I think it'll be a hard sell if they went up to the price of the Galaxy phones. I'd honestly switch to Samsung if the prices are the same. Yeah. I really, even if they undercut them by like $100. So I think the Z Fold goes for $1,800, so it's like $17.99. If Google comes in at $16.99, I think that's the absolute most you can charge for this device until you have like a track record. Samsung, they've got a better track record. Apple's got a better track record when it comes to like the integrity of their devices. I really wish I could switch to and use a Galaxy device consistently. There's a lot of freedom and customization there. There's a lot of features for like the real techie people that like really like to get into the nitty gritty of tech. But I'm just like, every time I find myself coming back to Pixel, and it's really that software experience. Like Pixel, it's smoother, it's simple. Like for like day-to-day stuff, it's simpler. Like I honestly think if Google could get it together, I don't think it's Samsung that could rival Apple and the iPhone. I think it's actually Google and the Pixel, because they're creating a device that's for everybody and not just the tech head. Where Samsung offers 3 different devices, like they offer, like even with the S23 series, they have the S23 Plus, the regular S23, and the Ultra. But most people, when they go in, like they don't need a lot of choices, because most people are indecisive. So like if you design a phone that's for the masses, you price it effectively, and then you give them like 2, maybe 3 options top. I really say 2 options, but 3 options top. Then you could sell a bunch of phones. Like, and then Google needs to make deals with the carriers like Apple and Samsung do to get salespeople to start recommending these phones. Because that's why I started my channel. I'm like, I go into carrier stores sometimes and it annoys me, because I'm like, someone will come in and they're like, yeah, I don't know what I want. And they're like, yeah, just get an iPhone. And you can't blame them, because for the average person, iPhones are simple and they just want something that's simple. So what happened with Galaxy phones is, now when you're talking the Ultra, like everybody looks at the Ultra like that's the standard Android phone, and it's not. It's for the tech heads. It's for the Android enthusiast. It's for the person that wants, high refresh rate screens. They want the best cameras. They want like a boss dog processor and all of that. And I honestly don't think Samsung is selling that many of the regular S23s. And I don't know if it's the way that they market it. I don't know if Tech YouTube is to blame for that. But I hardly ever hear anything about the base model S23 or the S23 Plus. Like nobody ever talks about it. I don't even see them. Like if anybody's ever had like a Samsung device, it's usually like the Note series, or it's like the best version of whatever they offer. So yeah, I wish I could do Galaxy. I cannot. Pixel all day. iOS has become such a complicated and convoluted mess over the years that I'd argue Android is easier to use for non-tech people. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna agree with you. I'm trying not to start an Apple versus Android war in the comments, and for those who are rewatching, because you know how that goes. But I will say iOS is to me is kind of like Facebook. It's like Facebook was really good at one point when it was like the only social media out there, and it was very straight to the point. Like you didn't have like Facebook Marketplace. I don't even think you had groups. Like when I'm like old school. Like when Facebook first came out, you posted pictures of like your family, your dog, and stuff like that. And then gradually they started adding more and more features. They started hiding things behind additional menus. They started making it much more difficult. A lot of stuff like didn't work as intended. And that's how you end up with the Facebook that we have now. So I feel like Apple, the iPhone, and iOS has done the exact same thing. Like I bought the original iPhone when it first came out, and then I bought the 3G. I had the 4, 4S, all of that. And I think I stopped buying iPhones around the iPhone 5 period. And they were fine, like back then. Like now, like with the latest, I think they're on iOS 16.3 or something like that. And then they're supposed to add all this stuff to iOS 17. Now it's just a pain. Like every time I have to pull out my iPhone to use certain apps and change like settings, like the way they do settings and notification, it's a pain. I think that's something that they need to address. And I honestly feel like they're getting better with some things. Like the more that they copy Android, Apple's just trying to build a better version of an Android phone. Like a lot of the features that you see coming to iOS now, and a lot of the things that they're doing, like even with what is it, lock screen customization, and adding always on display. Like they're building an Android. Let's call it what it is. Um, and their file system was just terrible. Like, but that's for me. That's just to me. The average person, they just want to get on. They want to get on iMessage and FaceTime, and that's some of their biggest selling points. That people overlook a lot of the shortcomings of iOS, and they just don't care. And then Android's got its bad reputation for whatever reasons that people hate Androids that I'll never understand, but that is what it is. Both are good at different things, but if we're talking about what phone to give your kid or your grandma today, oh yeah, my kids. So my son's got an older. I gave him one of my older Pixel phones, so I gave him, I think, my Pixel 4 or something like that, and my daughter's got a 6A. Like, it's the same experience. You've got Family Link built in for family controls. And I honestly think with Material U, with Android 12, like Google really made a huge push to try to make Android easier for the average person. I mean, remember when Android came out, it was like with the G1 and like the original inception of Android, like it was Linux based, like it was for the tech community. Like the big thing, they were like, you could create your own apps, you could do all of this stuff. Look what you can do on Android that you can't do on Palm or BlackBerry. Some of people watching may not even remember those brands because a lot of them are gone or out of business now. But yeah, Android used to be a lot harder to use. Now it's like, especially Pixel version, stupid simple. That's why I think they're starting to sell more phones. They've simplified the use of the device. They went back to try to make the design aesthetic a little bit more appealing, and now they're finally addressing some things with software. So if they continue, like, I love Google Messages. Like, Google Messages has gotten so much better for the user experience. Like if that's all you use, that I stopped using iMessage. So I use Google Messages and Telegram if I go over to my iPhone. Whereas on the flip side, like if you're using iMessage on an iPhone and you communicate with someone who has an Android, the experience is so much worse than it is if I have an Android and I communicate with somebody on an iPhone. Like, Google has been doing big things with Google Messages, and they've really improved it quite a bit. They're supposed to be adding more like continuity features too across the Android ecosystem. I'm still waiting on being able to like unlock maybe the tablet or my Chromebooks with my watch. I think that support's supposed to be coming at some point. Maybe they'll talk about it at Google I/O. I don't know, but I'm waiting on that. I agree. My wife just switched to an iPhone. I thought it was the most difficult thing, and it's set up to have you buy an iPhone. Yeah, man. Yeah. Apple is a services company. Like, that's why they're practically giving everyone an iPhone. Like, you go into your carrier and you can get an iPhone for free, and then they sell you services. Like, the biggest thing that keeps me from converting and using one more is I don't like Apple's business model. Their business model just bothers me. Like, they sell you like iCloud storage. Like, let's be honest, and maybe we need to demand of phone manufacturers that they put more storage or bring back expandable storage. But that's just where the industry is headed. Like, and I don't. Cloud storage has its purpose in certain use cases, but I don't like cloud storage for a lot of things, like even photos. Like, Google Photos is great, but getting the same quality back when you re-download things or have to access it later, it's not the same. It's not quick. And it's just really one of those things that, because it's convenient and they sell you the idea that like you'll never lose your files or you'll never lose your photos, like people just continuously buy it. And Apple is making money like 99 cents or $2 off of like however many iPhone users there are. every single month. So they're generating a lot of revenue. Um, I mean, it's smart from a capitalistic standpoint, but I don't like their business model. Yeah, I also don't like navigating just trying to change settings and things in the iOS period. Um, but I mean, some things they have some apps are only available on iOS, and some apps just work better on iOS. So it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. But hey, that is what it is. Let's see. Well, I think I'm gonna end there, guys. Thank you for all of those that came to hang out with me. Like I mentioned, I'm probably gonna stream like twice a month. So I'm planning on doing a stream for Google I/O next Wednesday. So that's probably gonna be the second stream. And then there's gonna be a ton of Pixel content coming on this channel because there's a ton of stuff coming up with Pixel phones and all of the stuff, all of the good stuff that we're like excited for. So hang around. If this is your first time joining me, please subscribe. Remember, I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and every single like and subscribe that you guys have given me, I'm so appreciative for, because it really helps and it's really encouraging to help keep going. So yeah, I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next one. Till then, everybody take care.